it is very important for you to install some non-standard modules. So it is related to numpy. So let me show you my lecture note first as a reminder. So do you remember this kind of lecture note? It is near the end of the lecture note. So as you know, I implemented several matrix operations in the previous slides. Okay, so at the end, I implemented the matrix multiplication here. So the matrix multiplication is somewhat complicated because it involves inner product of row vectors and column vectors. So I just implement them with an I product function, which stands for inner product of two vectors, and two helper functions, row vector and column vector. Okay, but as you know, the same multiplication is also implemented numpy module. So some of you may have some problem in using this kind of numpy module because it is not a standard module. So I'll show you how to use those kind of numpy module, non-standard module, using your Python. Okay, so actually it is related with PIP, which is a Python package installer. So I'll share my screen, Visual Studio Code. So, but that can also be used in standard terminal. And you see, this is a Visual Studio Code. So once it is installed, so let me try pip uninstall. So this is the first part. So you just typed the numpy modules that can also be used in your Python shell. If you try to import numpy, so no module named numpy, this may be your first approach to try the lecture note. But in that case, just create your Python shell, and you can use PIP, which stands for which is defined in recursive way. Someone is calling that it stands for Python install packages, but it is not true. It stands for PIP installs packages. So PIP, the definition of PIP is also including PIP. So it is very similar to GNU. Do you know what GNU stands for? GNU is Unix. So GNU is not Unix, is the shorthand. So GNU stands for GNU is not Unix. That is the acronym. So the same is true for PIP. PIP stands for PIP installs packages. Okay. So anyway, it is a Python package installer. So you can just use PIP. And second is the command install. And third argument is the name of the module. So just type numpy here. So once it is installed, that it is collecting numpy module from the internet. So it may take time. And if some of the modules is dependent on numpy, that is also installed to your Python environment. Okay, so if we are using some other Python environment, that means a shared Python environment. You may want to use a virtual environment, but that is too complex for you. So most of you are novices. So please use your own environment to install some additional non-standard packages. So while it is being installed, I'd like to explain what is the meaning of this code. I just imported numpy, and ns is just a list of natural numbers to a specific range. So it is important to get a sufficient large upper bound. Okay, so we'll use some part of it. So it starts from 0 up to 99. Okay, so it is not too complex. So once ns is defined, you can define ms, which is a matrix, S matrix, and S stands for the index. It is starting from 0, but as you know, this is a starting point, and this is the upper bound, not included, and this is a step. So the syntax of range, lower bound, upper bound, and step. So it will produce a list from lower bound plus step, lower bound plus 2 times step, up to 1 less than upper bound. Okay, so once it is installed in numpy, you may try Python and just try import numpy. So if if there's no error, it is very good. So once it is installed, you may try that ns is the list of range red. ms is a slice where every element is a list taken from ns, starting from s plus 3. So it is a consecutive list consisting of 3 elements for s in range. So that's why I use a step here, 3. Step 3 is related to plus 3 here. So you may print ms, okay? So starting from 0, you are taking 3 elements from the ns, from the list of ns. Okay. So in your lecture note, it was originally written as 1 1 with neglecting the range here. So the initial range is just range 3. So it is repeated 3 times. Okay. So with this syntax, you can try this in the Python shell. So sorry, it is misleading because the list should not be closed here. Okay, that is the cause of error. So I should delete since it is created by your intelligent editing. So print, it is not intelligent anyway. So it is just a list, just once list. So it was created to for implementing matrix multiplication. So once it was installed, you can make another matrix, which is a numpy matrix of ms. Another one, which is numpy matrix mt. Okay. Then good point of this numpy is that the output of the matrix is very pretty. Okay. So it is in matrix shape. So how I'll print M2? So you know that the number of columns is correspond to the number of rows. Okay, so you may try M3 is M1 times M2, and you can print M3. Good. Okay, so you may try them from here. It is same as before, but let me change this. NS starting from T, just like the above, T plus 2 for every T, starting from, let's start from 1 in this case. And you'd like to repeat 3 times, so up to 7, and step is 2. That should be calculated like this. And then you may try Ctrl F5 to run this. Okay, this is the first matrix, M1. This is the second matrix, M2. This is the third matrix, M3. So they are automatically aligned and printed in a very pretty way. Okay, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel when you are using the numpy. But your lecture note is not taking numpy as is, but it was imported with a new name as np. This is a very good nickname for numpy. So if you import this as a numpy, then you can use np instead of numpy. Okay, which is a very short name. Then the result is same as before. Okay, so do you have any questions on how to use numpy and how to use pip? Okay, then I'd like to switch to today's problem. Okay, so let me open today's problem. So today's problem is related to using filters in your comprehension. So in your case, it is related to very famous game, namely 369. Okay, so let's share this. Okay, this one. So you can specify one or more conditions using if in the comprehension syntax. For example, you can select a list of languages whose name is greater than 5 as follows. So let me just use this in your, demonstrate this in your Visual Studio Code. So I'd like to share my Visual Studio Code. So longer than 5. So you may try your Python shell. If you have a line, if you have a line of language list like this, you may get a string of lists that is very simple. Length is very simple. So line that split. As you know, length is the list of these things. Okay. So let me just comment this out. So you want to create the same list, which is called list of lengths, using a list comprehension. For each length in lengths, you can create that. So you may print lengths. Okay. So those are the same as before. They have the same list. Okay. But we'd like to just add something. So how about pairing this name length with the length of each language. So it is a list of pairs. The first component of the pair is the pair tuple is the name of the language, and second component is the length of the first one. Okay, so the list consists of 2 characters, and prologue consists of 6 characters, and C consists of just 1 character. So you can compute the length of them. But I want to select only those whose length is greater than 5. Then you may add if the length of the language is greater than 5. Okay, you may save this and running this. So can you see the list of tuples is somewhat shortened? Okay, so the list is dropped since the length of 4 is less than 5. C is dropped with the same reason. C++ is dropped. Length 3 is less than 5. Java is dropped. Okay, so only the languages is the Prolog, Smalltalk, Scheme, Python, and JavaScript. Okay, so that is the result. In that case, I just like to select those languages except excluding the length. Okay, and those languages can be printed in vertical with verticals. Okay, save this and running this. Okay, Prolog, Smalltalk, Scheme, Python, JavaScript are printed because the name of the language is greater than 5. Okay, the length of the name is greater than 5. So how about using very complex function? So you can use a function instead of a normal condition. Okay, so can you see that longer than 5 is accepting S as an argument, and it returns that if the length of the string is greater than 5, so it will return, if it is, then it will return true. So you can use rather than length, longer than 5 as a predicate on your language name, and the result should be the same. Okay? Okay, so this kind of if clause is called, filter. Okay, it's filter. It is a filter. So you may specify several filters in the comprehension. Okay, so let me take an example. There's no example here. So let me find, add some more filters on this program, on this code. So let me select that if the language name starts with capital P, let's select it. So if language name starts with capital P, then the first character should be P. Okay? So you added another condition with another filter, So you can execute this. So Prolog Python is selected. Okay? But you want to select those languages starting with S, you may add like this, P or 0 equals S. Okay? So so P Prolog was selected, Smalltalk was selected, Scheme was selected, Python was selected. Okay, so if you have using this kind of filters in multiply, they are ended. That means all the conditions should be satisfied. So in this simple example, you can use a single filter with and condition, okay, with those conditions is all conditions should be parenthesized. Okay, save this and the same result as before. Okay, so more compact way. So let me show you a more compact way rather than this. If the language, the first character is in P or S, okay, yes, I love you. No, it is starting with capital P or capital S. So the same condition as before. So the result should be the same. Okay. So this is a detailed explanation. How can you combine multiple filters? And how can you combine the filters with your list comprehension? So do you have any questions? So can you tell the difference of this one? This is the generator, but this is just a condition, okay, whose meaning is same as equals P or length 0 equals S, and these two or-ing should be parenthesized because the precedence of n is more tighter than the or. Because as you know, in the Boolean algebra, n is treated as the multiplication, and or is treated as an addition. Okay. Anyway, that is not the point, but you may combine multiple filters. Okay. So if you really want to do not want this parentheses, it is very simple, just add if. Okay, multiple filters. But for or-ing, you cannot add it as additional filter because they should be ORed. The filters should be ended if you add attaching more filters. Okay. So if you don't have any question, I'd like to explain today's problem with this screen. So now you fully understand what is the meaning of this short code, okay, short piece of code. So today's problem is collapse. You know, the collapse is just like this, okay, this is called collapse. So do you know Samyuku game? And in the footnote, it can be called a 369 game in English, okay? But the well-known similar game is Fizzbuzz. Okay, so it was a very frequently asked in a coding interview, your entrance interview of a company. Anyway, this is very similar to that. So the game is starting from 1 to an arbitrary integer. You are enumerating the integers. Okay. For example, starting from 1, 2, but if the number is including any of 3, 6, or 9, okay, then you should collect number of times that they are included. For example, you may enumerate the integers as follows: 1, 2, clap, because 3 is included in 3. 4, 6, clap, 6 is included in 6. 7, 8, clap, 9 is included in 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 3 is included in 13. 14, 16, 15, 16, rather than 16, you should clap because 6 is included in 16. 17, 19, clap because 9 is included in 19. 20, 21, 22, 23, you should clap rather than 23. So where the start denotes the clap. Beware that you should clap several times if they included in multiple. For example, you should clap 2 times for 33, so 3 is included 2 times. For 36, 3 and 6 are included. Okay? And 3 times for 339 and 1,396 and 6,739. So in that case, the multiple of 3 is included in 3 times here. Okay, 6, 3, 9. Okay? So write a program to count the number of claps in playing 369 game given two positive integers, a and b. A is the lower bound and b is the upper bound, and they are inclusive. So you are starting from a and end to b. Okay? For example, 1 and 10 are given for a and b. Your program should print 3. Okay? How about 1 and 9? 3, same as before, because 9 is included. For another example, if A is 30 and B is 37, you may count them. 30 is including 1, 31 including 1, 32 including 1, 33 including 2, 34 including 1, 35 including 1, 36 including 2. What's wrong? 37, okay, including 1. So you should print 10. So the lower and upper bounds A and B are given in the first line of the standard input, separated by a space. So do you have any questions on the examples? Any questions? No question? Okay, so I can continue. So your program should print the number of claps in playing 369 starting from A to B. So additional requirement for bonus point is that you have to use enhance the program structure using E for name. You have to use list comprehension with at least one filter. Okay, so if the lower bound is 10, upper bound is lower bound is 1, upper bound is 10, you should print 3. Lower bound is 5, upper bound is 20, you should print 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 claps. So you should print 5. And this is a third example. We have seen that there is 10 claps should be included, enumerating from 30 to 37. Okay. Any questions? No question? Then you about 15 minutes to go.